So I would say if you or I had a Buddhist background, we could probably say a Buddhist prayer, and it would work in the same way. And I think one of the reasons these Catholic prayers work so well, there's such a long history behind them, and they were taken seriously for a long, long time. And a lot of paranormal investigators, they will use, and I mean, when I have terrible cases with people, and I was not raised Catholic, I wasn't even raised very religious, but if I have a difficult case, I will go to those Catholic prayers. I honestly will. And they seem to work. I mean, they honestly seem to work. I mean, a lot of people do the smudging, and I'm 1/8 Delaware Indian, Delaware Shawnee Native American. And, I've done smudging too, but I think smudging's kind of mild, though. It seems to me like when you smudge, they're going to be back in about 6 weeks, maybe less. It doesn't seem to be a permanent kind of
seems like
thing.
a temporary. Hey, we got to go on break. I'm going to put you on hold, and we'll be back in about 3.5 minutes. Okay, so don't hang up. I'm just going to put you on hold. We'll be back in about 3.5 minutes. We have to go on station break. I'll play a little music and stuff on the internet side. And make sure you tell your friends about Night Dreams Talk Radio. You can find us at www.nightdreamstalkradio.com.
If you would like to hear Night Dreams Talk Radio on your local radio station, let them know. Tell them to check out www.nightdreamstalkradio.com. And thank you.
You are listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio Network. From our compound to you worldwide. With your host.
Your host, me, Gary Anderson. All of a sudden it just stopped. I'll tell you, maybe a ghost got us. I have no idea. Are you there?
Yes.
Yeah. I hate things when things malfunction all of a sudden. You push a button and it doesn't do what it's supposed to do. But have you ever noticed or got any images? What camera captures ghosts better? A digital camera or a film camera? Just out of curiosity. You still there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. But my question to you is, like, when you're trying to get an image of a ghost, which type of camera would be better? A film camera or digital?
I'm not a techie. I think any kind, if they're wanting to appear, people have gotten so many ghost pictures on the ghost tour with just basic your cell phones. So I'm sure that's not the best kind. But they have yielded a great deal. So I don't know. You would have to ask one of the ghost hunter kind of people, which I do that. But usually I act as a medium there, so I haven't done that in a long time. But I just use my cell phone.
Now,
people.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh well, people tend to get them just fine with basic cell phones. So I don't see any reason you'd have to. You could probably research that online. I don't know if the more expensive cameras would more likely pick them up. I think it's when they want to be. They want to show themselves. And so they will come across in whatever kind of mechanical thing that you have. What we have on the Ghost Tour, too, is we have so many street lights going out. I mean, like a dozen a night. And that puzzled me in the beginning, because at first I thought they were motion sensitive. And I thought, no, that's not right. They're supposed to come on when we walk under the street lights, not go out. And then I found out that street lights are triggered to go out when the sun comes up. And the theory is the street lights are interpreting psychic energy of all the combined people on the tours, as the sun coming up. And then as we walk down the street, we get about a half a block away or a block away, they'll come right back on. And it's quite a crowd pleaser. So they seem to want they will communicate through mechanical things more than pretty much more than anything else.
Now, have people got voices recorded off their cell phones and stuff like that of these ghosts?
I can't remember any on the ghost tour, but of course in ghost investigations we have. Yeah, If they did a recording, yes, they've gotten them on their phone. But I'm not so much into gathering evidence anymore because I have so many other things to do. But, of course, I will go along on a ghost hunt if I'm invited with people.
Interesting. But now, you wrote some books on, you want to go ahead and, mention the titles?
Well, I have a number of books. I'm also a creator of oracles. A lot of people know me through those, which I had something called the Phoenix cards back in the 1990s.
Uh-huh.
And here recently I brought out the Black Moon astrology cards because I'm also an astrologer. I have a book of West Virginia ghost and paranormal stories called The Cry of the Banshee. I've got a novel called The Mothman's Tale. And I also have a couple of books of poetry and also something called The Witch's Runes, which came out in the 1990s, which have been very popular. And then something again called The Astrological Guide to Seduction and Romance, and that came out in the 1990s as well. So I write on lots of different subject matter. I do need to do some more ghostly related material. Of course, I have a lot.
Yeah, it seems like you're busy. Hey, we got a caller. Go ahead, caller.
Yeah, hi, Gary. This is James. Susan, I was curious, have you, in all your travels, have you ever had any spirit follow you home?
Oh, yeah, to Moundsville. We went up to the Moundsville Penitentiary, which is pretty famous for its hauntings. As a matter of fact, Charles Manson was from West Virginia. He was wanting them to send him back to West Virginia, put him in Moundsville, but they never did that. But, yeah, I had something. When I got home from Moundsville, I heard what sounded like a baby crying. But if you listened very close to it, you could tell it wasn't really human. And then I saw like a black mist kind of move into the closet, and after that, I didn't have any more activity. It faded away. So, yes, I have.
Oh, wow. And have you ever picked up a spirit attachment that attached to you in your travels?
Well, I hope not, but I'll tell you another one that had to do with Moundsville. I wasn't even there. Some women contacted me and said they had felt like they had brought something back from Moundsville, and they felt it was a very dark kind of spirit. And I asked them if they had been using a Ouija board or anything. So they said, "Oh yes, we were using a Ouija board in the Sugar Shack area of the the prison, and that's where they put all the Satanists. They put the Satanists in there during the day. So I told the women how to get rid of it, some ideas on how to get rid of the spirit. This was a message through Facebook. This was all done through Facebook. And that night, I laid down on the couch about 10 o'clock, and all of a sudden, it felt like something was pinning me to the couch, and it was very strong. It felt very skinny. It almost felt skeletal. And I kept knocking it off of me and knocking it off of me. And finally, I was successful. I knocked it off of me. The very next night, I thought I'd gotten rid of it totally. The very next night, I did the same thing. I fell asleep on the couch, woke up with that thing pinning me to the couch again. So I'm trying to get it off of me. And as I'm trying to get this thing off of me, I hear the back door open. I thought, oh, gosh, that's nice. I have a demon on top of me, and somebody just broke into my house. So finally I got the thing knocked off of me, and I decided whoever came into the kitchen, I was just going to confront them. So I ran into the kitchen, and I saw the door slowly close. It clicked shut, and I never had another experience. There's a lot of theories about that. Either the spirit was in two places at one time. Someone else had the theory maybe it was another spirit that came in to rescue me from that first demonic type of one. I felt like it was trying to tell me, you're not stronger than I am. You better stop telling people how to get rid of me. But after that, with the door closing, it never came back. So, yeah, I had a few of those
some pretty scary experience. All right, well, thank you very much.
Well, thank you, James, for calling in.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned, I don't understand what is going on, but I'm getting people message me on a daily basis about Mothman all across the country. They're claiming that they're seeing Mothman. Have you been hearing anything about Mothman has picked up drastically?
Well, that's a complete mystery. There are many, many theories. He appeared in West Virginia from November 1966 for about, I would say honestly, they say for 1 year, but I would say it went up to about 1970. Now, during that time of Mothman sightings, of course, there was a tremendous amount of UFO sightings at the same time. And we also had around that time the Indrid Cold Men in Black part of the story. And that particular part of the story did not happen in Point Pleasant as much as in Parkersburg here. Indrid Cold stopped a local man by the name of Woodrow Durenberger along I-77. But why? I have no answer. They know the Silver Bridge went down, collapsed in Point Pleasant in December of 1967. So they thought the Mothman was kind of like a warning of something about to happen. A sign or a sign of bad days to come. But I've heard that they've been up in Chicago. I've been in other areas, but I've not seen. I don't know if anybody's gotten a picture of it yet. So that's all I know. I know that I grew up near the Partridges that had the red eyes in the barn. That was the same night of the Scarberry sighting in Point Pleasant. And I can remember that. I remember my sister coming home from school talking about Mr. Partridge having seen these red eyes in the barn. Of course, it ended up John Keel interviewed him and put his story in the book, The Mothman Prophecies. But it didn't really end with John Keel's book, because Mr. Partridge told me of all kinds of other strange stories that happened to him a few years later.
Like what?
And then we had something similar. 1987, a creature 6.5, 7 feet tall up on Quincy Hill here in Parkersburg that actually fit the description of the Mothman. But I have no explanation really of why the Mothman would appear. So maybe something's about to happen.
Something, I think maybe worldwide or countrywide. One of my regular guests I have on about every 6 weeks, Joe Taylor, he has a museum in Texas. He's one of these persons that museums go to put dinosaur bones back together and reconstruct them. And he's very, very intelligent on this. But one of his friends